Dear patrons, there is no segment of the market, no sector of greater interest, and no passion of mine that is stronger than food. As a young man growing up, I did not really have any hobbies or interests except when it came to cooking and eating. Let's just say I gave up very quickly on my culinary endeavors, but I can still make you a mean cheese quesadilla if you come over. Our next presenter, Mama Mancini's, ticker MMMB, knows a thing or two about Italian food. It runs in their blood. Their specialty is focused on that old classic and delicious staple, meatballs. Beef, turkey, plant-based, it's all good. The company has featured its products on QVC and LD Micro events with great fanfare. I, for one, love the product, and it helped me immensely last year when I was locked up at home. Mama Mancini's not only qualified for the LD Micro Index earlier in the year, but reported record Q4 results with solid net income to boot. Joining us on the call today, it is my pleasure to welcome Mr. Carl Wolf, the chairman and CEO of Mama Mancini's. Carl, congrats on your recent quarter. We have a lot to discuss today. The floor is now yours.
Thank you very much, Chris. I'm glad to see that you Italian is in your blood. The background here is Capri, and if you look to the left, there's a famous Blue Grotto off to the left there. So we're going to take a dive today. In order to get in there, you kind of have to dive in. So Capri, by the way, is one of the most beautiful places to be. So we're making a presentation today. This is the normal forward-looking statement disclaimer. So I can hype a little more, I guess, because I'm covered. But anyway, here is the major points. We're a manufacturer and distributor of especially pre-prepared, all-natural food products. Most of our products are Italian-oriented. We're in about 45,000 locations nationwide. We're in Walmart, Whole Foods, Kroger. We're in rotation at Costco, and that's growing and coming along. Our biggest regular retail customer is Publix Supermarkets, which has 1,200. I hit the wrong thing. Which has 1,200 locations. We can continue to grow. We're fitting today's lifestyle. We are basically a takeout prepared food. Over 70% of consumers decide what they like for dinner after 12 noon that day. Consumers want higher quality food, especially now with COVID. They forego eating out and they spent their money in products that satisfy the quality of restaurants. Our margins have increased across the board as our sales have increased rapidly. So has our gross profit, and so has our bottom line profit. We'll talk about profits a little bit. I keep hitting this button here. Okay. We hope to be entering the food service market. We got totally thrown off by COVID. As you know, the food service market fell apart. We're now starting again, and I'll get into that in a little while. We're in the middle of search for acquiring accretive companies that can fit into our network. And we're really far along on that. And we think that could be a very, very positive effect on the company. Management owns 40% of the company. We are in the process of applying for uplist on NASDAQ. We think that that will happen in the next several weeks. If our stock stays above $2 a share, I'm hitting the wrong thing. This button is not following my life. Here we are. So in any case, so we have a lot going on. If by June 28th, our stock stays above $2 a share, we will be uplisted to NASDAQ. Our stock right now is in the 240, 250 range. Our recipes are genuine. Dan Mancini, who is a founder of the company, came into our operation. We had a high quality hors d'oeuvre company and said, I got the world's greatest meatball. And he is our Mr. Meatball. the spokesperson for MamaMancini's on QVC. He has, in fact, this week he'll be on 3 times, one of which will be a 30-minute special program of all of our products. That is on QVC too. So we're very, very active. We're typically the number 1 or number 2 producer in a food segment. So our products are sold mainly in what we call the perimeter of the store, where there's fresh foods, and that's growing rapidly. And that the prepared food section is about 36 billion. Actually, that's several years ago. It's probably over 40 billion right now. We had 40 million in sales. We have obviously a very, very small piece of it. So we have a lot of room to grow. So that section of the store is growing 8 to 10%. The center of the store is decreasing, except for this last year with COVID, by 1 to 2%. That's why you've seen until very recently, all the major food companies have had impingement on their margins and on profits. So anyway, these are just more statistics that are suspected to grow. We have recently entered the plant-based area. We started out slow, but we have a number of new authorizations in process, and that will continue to grow. I think I was a little bit hyped, and now we're seeing, after a fallback, steady growth, and definitely a viable category for us. This is a list of some of our products. We have 29 different products. Our number 1 product is meatballs in various iterations, from cocktail meatballs to turkey to cheese stuffed meatballs, spicy meatballs, etc. Our number 2 product and number 3 are meatloaf and stuffed peppers, growing very rapidly. Sausage and peppers growing. We have plant-based, we said. Very, very big category for us is pasta bowls. It is now probably just about, will be the number 2 category after regular meatballs. Volume has way outstripped our, I keep hitting the wrong buttons, has way outstripped our estimates, and we keep getting new authorizations. We now have 13 items in the pasta bowl category, and that will continue to grow. Our products are all natural and very health conscious. Very importantly, they're made with simple ingredients. We ship the product for the most part frozen to supermarkets, and then the product is defrosted at the store and put out on the shelf in either bulk or hot bars, or in trays, which are used for take home. What's very, very interesting is in our products, this market survey, 92%, 93% of consumers will likely or definitely buy our product again. Typically, if you have a new product, if you're around 65%, it's considered very, very positive. This is just an example of one of our products, and that's our turkey meatballs, and we're 22 calories per ounce, and this is some of our competition that is as high as 80 calories per ounce. Our products have no food coloring, no soy protein, which is very important. A lot of people don't like that. We have no flour concentrate. We have no hydrogenated oils. So anyway, and our protein is very high. A 5-ounce serving has around 9 ounces of protein. So we stack up pretty well. We're in a number of supermarkets. As you can see, Kroger is coming along as a very, very large customer, Albertsons, Safeway. We have a new business coming with them that could be in as much as 2,200 stores. We sell BJ's, QVC, Sam's Club, Walmart, Costco, Super Value. So we're in the major supermarkets in the country. The food service division is very interesting because it's several several components. We were very, very actively doing a university program when COVID hit. In that program, we now sell one university. We got in with one university with both plant-based and regular. We solicited about 700 universities. We believe we would start selling about 10 to 12 last fall, which would be a couple $1 million business, and ultimately we see that being a $20 to $30 million category. There's about 2,800 universities and colleges, so we have a special program for that. In addition to that, we have a program for what we call the independent delis. We have our own subsection within a store where we have a MamaMancini's kiosk. It's relatively cheap to put up. Again, that got hit by COVID. That is just starting again now, but there's thousands. Part of that is convenience stores, and we're developing a meatball in a cup product. We hope to go into test with a major chain very shortly. Major convenience store chain. There's about 300,000 truck stops, gasoline stops, convenience stores across the country. So that is a huge, huge business for us. Also, potentially in sandwiches. We do a lot of business through QVC. We expect to start selling Amazon Fresh in the next month or so. And I don't know why I'm having a problem with this. But anyway, that will be a modest business. Amazon, QVC is very, very large and continues to grow. We doubled our QVC business last year. They're committed to moving up almost as much this year in terms of doubling. Anyway, QVC is committed to us and we're committed to them, and it's been a very successful relationship. You have to remember that every time we go on QVC with a live presentation, it's an 8 to 12 minute infomercial. Dan Mancini is very well known. He understands how to sell the product. You can see him live on QVC. If anyone's interested, they can send me an email and I'll give you the date of the next airing. We have a Sirius radio campaign. We're doing 7 flights a year around holidays, and that is very, very valuable. I'm going to kill this thing. I guess I have nervous hands. Anyway, we have over 500,000, and last piece is social media. We have over 500,000 followers on Facebook and Instagram, and we can promote a special program. As an example, we're very, very successful with pasta bowls in Publix. The numbers are way beyond where we thought we would be, and a lot of that is due to the social media campaign. Now we can geo-target within 5 miles of a supermarket location. So within 5 miles of a Publix store, we can push our pasta bowls, which we have been doing very, very successfully. So we're very, very happy with that item. We sell Publix right now 3 regular pasta bowls, 1 in test for plant-based, and that will be on major promotion in July. And we have a new pasta bowl authorization, and we have 8 more to go. Hopefully there'll be to 12 pasta bowls. Anyway, the numbers are incredibly high. These are some of our stores that we're in. Even though we're in full distribution in some locations, it doesn't mean we can't stop selling them. So an example of Publix, we're in all stores, which is now closer to 1,200. But we sell them around 7, 8 items. But we have 3 more just coming into sales in the next few weeks. So anyway, there's a lot more business. So we can increase Publix business 25% in the very near future. That is the same for almost every chain we sell. In the case of Whole Foods, we sell the whole chain for their hot bars, and that totally collapsed last year by the summer because people weren't using hot bars. That is starting to come back very slowly. We sell them two products, turkey meatball, antibiotic-free turkey and antibiotic-free beef meatballs. That is coming back. So even though we're fully penetrated, the product is only being used in a small category and now growing very, very rapidly. So we were down to zero business by summer, and now our first month, I think, was August, where we did $50,000, and now that's increased every month and will continue to increase. So Whole Foods, even though it shows 100%, is a tremendous potential for the company. In addition to that, Whole Foods is looking at two new products, which would dramatically increase the business. So a lot of business isn't just in new business, but in getting new products. We have 29 products. We sell an average of 3.5 products per chain. In the case of Kroger, we expect to go to 1,100 locations in the next month. In the case of Costco, we are in rotation in two territories right now, San Francisco and East Coast Metro. We're in the process of moving that into more territories and eventually the whole chain. To give you an idea of the potential of Costco, if we are in all 500 plus stores and in all year round, it's a $20 to $25 million business for one item. You have to remember we're doing $40 million last year. So again, the perimeter store is growing rapidly, and that's where we're at. This is an important thing. We're concentrating on larger customers. So as an example, the convenience store meatball in a cup is an unbelievable category. So if we sell a convenience store chain of 10,000, which is not unusual, and it goes into their grab and go section hot because it's heated. If we sell 7 a day per store, which is not a lot, we would be doing around $40 million in additional revenue. So we're concentrating on larger customers, and a lot of them are in process. Some of them will happen. Some of them won't. But we're very, very optimistic for the end late this year, the end of the year. You have to remember, COVID was a two-edged sword. We did very, very well last year, first quarter, because people stocked up their inventory, especially with club stores. We had tremendous volume. Second quarter, there was a beef shortage and a run. Again, people stocked up on beef. And then third and fourth quarter went to normal sales. However, all of the decision-making for new merchandising and new products and expansion was put on hold. So we were pushed back 6 months, and now that is starting to show. It's starting to show this coming quarter. It will show more in the third quarter and much more in the fourth quarter. So we are very, very optimistic as to a much higher sales and profits. What's very key about our plan, before we discuss that, is that we're very leveraged and that our overheads are relatively stable. So that each incremental sale is about 20 to 25% profit. Our plant's at about 60% capacity. What you're seeing here is the packaging room in the upper far right. And we've just added about $200,000 in equipment improvements, which has increased efficiency. We went from 20 people down to 13. So that has been very positive. So we have 5 people plus one other working in quality assurance. We're USDA level 2 plant. We're HACCP, which means that if there's ever a recall, we can trace all the elements of the product down to flour or breadcrumbs. So we also have availability for co-packers to do some of the core elements as ingredients. So we feel that we can either through our own plant or through co-packing arrangements, get up to about 75 to 80 million people. So here is some of the financial highlights. Our revenue for the trailing 12 months was 40.8 million versus up 20%. Now, again, last year was a very unusual year in that the beginning of the year was very strong and the end of the year was relatively flat in sales, but not in profits. As our sales take off again, our margins and profits should dramatically increase. The 4.1 million in net income this year versus 1.5 last year includes a $700,000 tax credit. In other words, we expect to get a benefit of tax loss carryforwards. Our cash provided by operations was 3.7 million. However, we also had some warrant redemptions. We have about 35.6 million shares outstanding. We thought it might be higher when all the redemptions came in. But we're at 35.6 million and we have about 700 mainly employee options. Our cash on January 31 was 3.2 million. It's now over 4 million. So we have no debt. So as you can see, we're up by close to $7 million. With this quarter, we're up over $7 million. So we've had authorizations for 15,000 new spots on retailer shelves coming, again, mid-2021. And we've had a number of new rotations. One of them, a new authorizations, a new one starting on July 1, is our retail pack, a branded retail pack at 600 Sam's Clubs. We're in a 16-week test in all Sam's stores. If we do well, we will continue. My opinion is we should do very well. It's very similar product to what's sold in Costco. We've run at Costco double what is considered their minimum. And Walmart will start in August with, we think, about 1,500 locations. 500 was given with us to begin with, but that will move up, and that is with a family pack. We tested that last fall. We were significantly above what they consider their minimum. To our board, we've added two very prominent people. Connor Haley, who many of you may know from Altifox, holds about 1,600,000. His firm holds about 1,600,000 shares of MamaMancini's on our board. He's been extremely active and beneficial to our company. Really, very, very positive. Michael Stengel is very prominent in the food service industry. He ran all of for Marriott, all of their hospitality hotels, their convention hotels, doing over $2 billion. He retired. Now as an independent consultant, he's already introduced us to the whole chain of people at Marriott. We've mentioned that we have our application with NASDAQ. We expect the uplisting hopefully by the end of June. If we don't make the $2 share by the end of June, June 28th is the date, we will do a reverse split. I should mention acquisition prospects. We put on a full acquisition search. My beginning career was in acquisitions and mergers and strategic alternatives. We hired an independent consultant to help us. We've networked out. We're in the process of negotiating what we hope will be a very creative deal. We're 50%, 70% along in the process. It will be announced at the appropriate time. But anyway, that would be very, very positive company. Management, I'm really not going to go into all of our people here. What is interesting is my background. I was involved as either chairman, or CEO or both of Alpine Lace Brands, who I founded with my wife, who was very active. She's now retired. And I was co-chairman of Saratoga Beverage, NASDAQ, and I was chairman of the board of Audio Book Club Media Bay. So I'm very experienced in the field, and also hopefully have learned about being a straight shooter and giving people information that they need. So anyway, there is one person, even though everyone's here, I want to mention Chris Styler, our executive chef, has written 21 cookbooks. The great thing about Chris is that he knows how to convert a recipe from a benchtop to actual production, because there's often major problems of changing over. So anyway, the key takeaways again are, we're right now it's tackle, pitch the ball, get the new business, keep our house in order, day to day, grind it out, which we're very aware of, and stable. And as we get larger customers and new authorizations in both existing customers, we think there will be very, very substantial increases in profit. Chris, now I'm going to turn it over to you.
Carl, thank you for the presentation. We have a lot of questions. So when you are ready, let me know and we'll dive right through.
Give me 20 minutes. No, I'm kidding.
No, I mean, this is wonderful. Can you give us a little detail on the meatball industry in general? Who are the big players and what makes Mama special compared to the rest?
Well, there's about 4 or 5. Armour is very, very big in retail. It's number 1. We have home cooked foods is very big in retail. Food service, King's Command is Rosina. The meatball business is probably about $1 billion industry right now, with the keto diet, et cetera. There's been, and also a whole craze a couple years ago on, meatballs being in fashion. So meatball business has grown. However, our product is very, very important. Almost all the major competition is using filler, soy, imported beef. If you saw some of the imported beef come in, which is gray and frozen, why? Because they don't put any fat in there, because they pay a duty on it. So the fat is added from the United States. If you look on a typical competitor product, the third ingredient is caramel color. So the product doesn't have a meat taste. It has a very strong Italian flavoring, but we're not in that category. We have moved away from competing against the frozen retail product. In fact, we did that in our early life. We had great ratings. People loved it. But when the next guy was cheaper in price, that customer went. You have to remember, in the perimeter of the store, the consumer is wearing a totally different hat. And it's also a different consumer who wants quality, fair price, fair quality. In the center of the store, it is very, very price oriented. You get larger families. And also the same consumer over in the prepared food section is paying $6 a pound, and then over in the frozen section wants to pay $3.50 a pound.
So I was going to just say that gray meatballs sound disgusting. I'd much rather pay more and get the real thing. You guys are currently available in 45,000 stores. How has the store count changed over the past 12 months?
Well, it's gone up. Well, what has happened is the smaller stores, like the co-ops and so forth, which were mainly small retail, that count has gone down. And the larger volume major chains has gone up. So we have a concentration of larger customers. So our count is up a little bit. However, it isn't the count. If you have one Costco, it's equivalent to 25 Walmart. So so it's very, very different So it isn't just the count, it's the quality of the count. So Costco is a very, very large opportunity. Convenience stores, people like Whole Foods, um, Sam's Club, BJ's, all those are where we're concentrating. Also, in the hot bar, which has been closed down and now opening up, the volume is very, very high. And some of our new businesses for the hot bars. And so even though you're in a location, and let's say some locations, the minimum is $15 a week. In other locations, the minimum is $800 a week. So at hot bars, though, they generally do $100 to $400, minimum of 100, but typically $300 to $400 a week per slot. So that's the business we're going after.
This was a follow-up to the last question that you had. Do
Sure.
you feel that you'll be able to get to 50,000 stores in the next 12 to 18 months?
Oh, absolutely. We have commitments right now. We're waiting for shipments, but we have commitments. But again, the quality is, if we get into 500 Costco's all year, all year round, even though we show 155, we are only in rotation once or twice a year. If we go to full more divisions and then all year round, we only show 350 more stores, but we're going to show, several more millions of dollars of business.
Well, Carl, my opinion is, as a consumer, that Costco is the holy grail,
Right.
because you have a very affluent customer. You
Right.
have bigger sizes.
Right.
And it's essentially, you are the best in terms of what it is that you can do, and you could do it on a large scale.
Right.
So there are a couple of Costco questions, but before that, do you guys disclose who your biggest customer is?
Sam's Club.
Okay, so Sam's Club is. And
We're getting off that. Some of the items in Sam Club are rotation. So that is moving down as a percentage of sales, which I think is very good for the company.
so, of course, now we have the Costco questions. How big is Costco in relation to everyone else? And what do you foresee with this customer? I know you touched upon this, but just a little bit more detail as to your relationship with the company.
We have, in our business, even though it's a 2021 business, the rules are back to 1980, like when we had Alpine Lace, or 1990. It's relationships. So we have a product that in general cuts and taste, and the follow-up business is very, very positive. Our success ratio is very high, and we have tons of testimonials of positive results. However, everyone is very, very busy, and unless you have a relationship, it's very hard to penetrate. Also, where we're going for the higher volume category, there's not 20 different items. So in the frozen case, there's probably 40 different similar Italian items. In the meatball case, there's one or two. So you have to wait for your opportunity. But in the case of Costco, we're actually working on 3 different major areas in Costco. One is the prepackaged consumer 3-pound pack, which has done very, very well. We just finished a rotation in San Francisco. We just got a commitment that we'll continue with them. We were on a promotion week, and we did approximately 4 times what their minimums were, which amazed everybody. And we started with high volume there right off the gate. Sometimes it takes several weeks to grow. So we expect to sell several more Costco divisions of the 6 or 7 and in the packaged product. And as time goes on, and as we do well, we'll fill in from rotations to continual item and fill in the few divisions that we're not in. We then are pitching the Costco Kitchen, which is homemade meals at large size packs. and we're in the process of doing that. I'd say that that's further off. And also, we're very, very active with Costco Canada, and we think there will be some major sales there in their kitchen. If that's so, we'll announce that very shortly. So Costco, all told, between the kitchen, the retail, and the Canada, is a lot more than 20 million is for one item. Actually, it's closer to 25 million for one item. If you get two items in, and then you sell the kitchen, and then you sell Canada, you could be a $50 million customer.
Carl, I don't know if you've done this already, but Costco is famous for their samples. Have you done that toothpick thing where you put it in a meatball and then you put it on
We
a tray?
do. However, quite honestly, I much rather use a price point promotion. We find that it costs us about $20 per unit sale for a demo. Whereas if you give $1 off, $1.50, you'll get the same, you'll sell 20 times as much. So, and much higher sales. So we'd rather, and it's easier to merchandise. One of the problems in today's world is help. And the demo people are not nearly as well qualified or as knowledgeable as they used to be. If you go up to them and you say, "Oh, what's in here?" They go talk to your mother.
Of course, right. No, I was just saying that because I wanted to score some cheap meatballs in the Bay Area, but that's interesting that price promotions are much more effective. How many SKUs do you guys typically have in the store that you are in?
Three and a half. 3.5 on average.
Okay. What is the average price point for your products? Are you mid-level or higher end?
Well, because we have protein with the sauce, and sauce is our secret ingredient, our retail is very positive. So it's $5.99 and $6.99 a pound. So we're mixing protein with sauce. So we have an advantage, even though we're higher priced on the protein, the final product for a meal. So if you buy a pound of our meatballs and sauce for $6.99, you're going to have a dinner for two, which is very reasonable. If you buy our pasta bowl, which is also in the $6.99 range, which has pasta, sauce, and protein, it's a small dinner for one. I mean, it's a large dinner, very large dinner for one. It's about a pound, or a tight dinner for two. But anyway, that's for people who are grabbing a pasta bowl on the go of $6.99, equivalent to restaurant quality. You have to remember that our pasta bowls are made fresh at the store every few days. So we have them in sub-units of 4. So they open the kit, think of Blue Apron. They open the kit and they cut, the kit holds for a year frozen. Once it's defrosted, it holds for 30 days. They cut the bags, they layer it. It's fresh, it's not mixed, which is very important. So very often when you buy a prepared food, it's SOG because it's been made in a commissary and they gas flush it and it's good for 45 days. But by the time you get it, you have a melding of everything. So you don't have any taste. So our volume at Publix in pasta bowls has tripled in the last year.
So this might impact our relationship negatively, but I haven't had your pasta bowls yet, and I look forward to that.
We're going to send you some samples.
Thank you.
What a mooch.
Yeah, no. Well, the basis is that, COVID has destroyed my email. So people often ask me, Carl, what I do all day. It's 90% email. And hopefully I'll be able to get to a supermarket shortly. I haven't gone to a Costco recently, but I will. Outside of stores, do you sell any wholesale or to large restaurant groups?
Not really. A few small ones. We went back to ground zero. The larger retail chains are still very conservative on new items. However, we are in the process of pitching them. And I think we'll get some business, especially the Italian chains. I see more very large opportunities in the independent deli kiosk the universities, and convenience stores as immediate. Also, we do have our introduction to Marriott has been very, very positive. So we will see also some stadium business, et cetera. What we like is where we have a central headquarters where they can taste and handle our product. Again, the food service business also, it's relationships. You have the right relationship, you have relationships to be introduced, then our product sells by itself. Not going there in person is not as positive. We like making presentations, right there.
For QVC, do you guys disclose what you typically generate in sales over a single session?
We don't, because that's confidential, but we typically, we're on QVC, we sold 3 times above what they consider to be, just our last presentation, what they consider to be, a very good number, acceptable number. So they measure us in sales per minute. And I don't think there's been a show in the last year that we ran below their minimums. What's interesting about QVC is some shows do very, very well, and some shows do overall fair. I can't really tell you why, but in any case, so there's a very famous presenter on QVC, David, In the Kitchen with David, and David was a chef, and David loves our products. And until this past week, that was where we were 3 times over, David was not allowed to taste any of the food with QVC protocol. Well, now he is. So, and he loves our meatballs. David's a heavy set guy. And supposedly he ate the whole bowl. I didn't see it. He ate the whole bowl of meatballs. And then he does a happy dance where he turns around. So anyway, we sold 3 times over what was considered a good sales with David.
Excellent. My idea is you should bring former actors from The Sopranos and get their take on your meatballs. But, that's just me. There's a reason why I'm not in marketing. With the plant-based meatball, is it at a higher price point? And what have sales been like since it was introduced?
The plant-based has had a mixed result. They're much higher priced. We sell the Beyond product, and now we're also introducing our own product, which is lower price point. And so the higher price point has been an issue. Also, there has been some skepticism among the supermarket chain about plant-based. So it hasn't been a runaway hit that I thought it would. However, it's steady, and we now are in the process of acceptance at a several $1 million account. Where I'd say 75% on the way on that. And that account I'm handling myself. So I'm totally committed to plant-based. However, you can't promote it. We sell plant-based on QVC, and they have plant-based shows, about 4 a year. We're typically the #1 or #2 product. Also, we won the Consumer Choice Award on QVC as the best plant-based product. In the case of this several $1 million customer, our product, our meatball, plant-based meatball, was very, very well received versus a product they're using now. So we would replace someone else.
Do you know the profile of your typical customer, and what have you learned about people who love your products?
Well, there's two major profiles. One is people with children. Our meatballs are home style and mellow, and they love feeding it all natural to kids. And the other one are empty nesters who are not cooking like they used to. So the old adage, grandma doing all that cooking, not nearly as much. So those are our 2 major customers. The people who love our meatballs are all across the board.
I'm here in Central California. Where can I go and buy your product? Central California, Carl.
You're in Central?
Yes. So I think this person's probably in Fresno County.
Oh, I think you would be. So you just missed us. We just finished the rotation at Costco.
I would think Rayleigh's, Nob Hill, anything Save Mart, Food Max. Those are kind of like the big. Those are kind of the best.
Right. So I would say Costco and Whole Foods are our two biggest customers in that market. Right now, we're in Sam's Club. We will be in Walmart starting in August, and we will be Sam's Club all across the country with our retail pack. Sam's Club, we're in their kitchen. So we said Sam's Club, we sell meatloaf and stuffed peppers. The interest in stuffed peppers at Sam's Club has tripled in volume per store over the last 3 years in volume. That's a great product.
Carl, do you guys do any sales online?
We don't. QVC does surprisingly a lot of sales online. And as I mentioned, we are in the process of our first sales to Amazon Fresh. And we think that will also be a very big plant-based. Among our products, we'll be offering about 6 products, of which 1 will be plant-based. I think plant-based will be half our business.
So Carl, we have 9 minutes left, but we have 8 questions. So let's kind of roll through these as quickly as we can. Tim has a few questions. Tim, thank you for joining us today. Can you describe how rotations work with the major customers and which ones are on rotations and which ones are not?
Okay, Costco is rotation. Sam's Club does longer rotations, or we'll do tests. If you're in a test, you're in typically less than Sam's Club is about 600 locations. So if you're in a test, example, we're in a test with bolognese sauce with spaghetti. So we're in about 150 locations. If that test ends shortly, if we do well, we'll then come back in the fall. The results are pretty good. However, we're going into the summer, so that's not a good time for spaghetti and bolognese sauce. So, anyway, no,
Carl,
but
I eat it year round.
anyway, and then we have some of the larger club stores, though, even though you're not in a rotation, you know that you will not be there forever. After a couple of years, they move you out because they want variety, even though if you're doing very well. So, that comes with the territory, and we're aware of that. But anyway, we don't have a great deal of that.
And then Tim asks a follow-up, how much growth can you guys get in existing stores by adding products? When you expand business in an existing customer, how often do you displace a competitor versus getting more space? Great question, Tim.
I probably around 30%, 20% of our business is replacing a competitor. New products are very important. So you sample pasta bowl line, which is really doing well. We sell Publix 3 plus a test and plant-based. We have a 4th one coming, and we have 8 more possible. Each pasta bowl is very, very high volume at Publix. We're going into test with a 2,200 unit chain in about 100 stores. They're going to put in 12 pasta bowls, of which we will probably go national with 5 to 7. So there's many, many more opportunities. We could, triple our business through new items in our existing customers.
Jason asks, are there any updates that you can give on the M&A side of the business?
I can only say that we're in negotiations with a candidate. We're very, very happy with what we see thus far. For confidentiality purposes, we can't really say much more, but if that deal goes through, it would be a very, very positive effect on the company.
Carl, are you guys?
I'm working on that personally.
Go ahead, please.
I'm working on that deal personally.
Understood. Are you guys currently in Trader Joe's?
No.
Okay.
Why? Trader Joe's is a very price-oriented account. They tend to do a lot of reverse engineering. We've sold Trader Joe's in the past. And also, if you sell Trader Joe's, very often you disrupt the rest of the market. Because they work on much lower margins. Trader Joe's buys trailer loads. They have it down. They buy trailer loads at a time. They push it into the stores. They know what they're doing. Limited number of items, but it affects the rest of the trade.
Mr. C is asking, would you guys use stock or cash for acquisitions?
Uh, Cash. We have a bank line where we've been authorized for a bank line of credit if we need it. Interest rates today are around 3.25%, 3.5%. So it's very, very positive. Plus we have cash, we have cash and we're generating more cash. So we're not using any of our working capital bank line at all, which is $4.5 million. So we have $4+ million in cash. We have a $4.5 million working capital line, and we have been authorized. It hasn't been official on a acquisition line.
Does home sheltering help or hurt your prospects as we come out of COVID?
It'll help us because we're missing a lot of fresh prepared food, such as spooning out behind the counter, or hot bars have been discontinued or haven't done that well. So that has been a big element of our business. And that went down very substantially. The other part is we have a lot of independent deli prospects, which we're working on. Again, well, our business was being killed with COVID. They weren't looking at new opportunities. So going out of COVID is very, very positive for us. We will be down slightly in club store business, but right now it appears that we're not. Right now, our club store business is up, but in theory, it should be.
Any comments on the sell-off in the stock in mid-April of 2021?
I think you can answer that better than anyone else. Everyone, no one ever knows who's selling or whatever.
Well, Carl, I'm just telling you, microcap land has been insane for the past year and a half. I mean, it's very hard to gauge anything anymore, but it's one of those things where my opinion for you guys is that there are so few food companies in microcap that you guys have a big distinction already from the get-go. Stephen asks, can you outline what characteristics would make for an accretive acquisition candidate look to add additional plant capacity with a deal or leverage of your existing facility? Thank you, Stephen, for the question.
If we have an acquisition that could add to our capacity or make some products for us, would be great. A product line that is compatible with the same customer base, good gross profit. The ideal candidate has had a stable, profitable business. We get a lot of candidates, great product, but they're losing money. We don't want any losing money deals. We feel that we can, a very good quality product. So we feel if we can find an acquisition with a good product, but for whatever reason is stalled or mature, they're tired, they need a new vision, and we can take that business and expand it into our network, could be a very large savings. Also, we really have a very big kick on best practices. We're putting in NetSuite, I think it'll be in by July. It was a major undertaking, and done packaging reviews, logistic reviews, and so forth. We've had outside consultants look at our plant. So we can use some of the best practices. The other thing is, if an acquisition has some food service business, it can be, again, we said relationships can be helpful to us. So, and we're only looking at accretive acquisitions.
Excellent. And then our final question, until I ask my two questions, is from JF, my good friend. With regards to M&A, would it be retail focused or food service? How large is your food service as a percentage of overall business?
Food service is nil. I mentioned that already.
That's right.
The acquisition could be either, whether retail or food service. The key is, I believe that a product has to have a reason for being. Eventually, whether it's quality, price, logistics, convenience. So you need to find a product that has a reason for being. What is much easier to handle and more accretive for us is a product that sells into the same category we do. However, that's not necessary. Um, I think I'm the visionary in our business. At least I like to think that. And so many times, you say, why can't you do this? Or here's another opportunity. Or let's look at, let's re-examine this and so forth. So the acquisition that is a little more mature business that is kind of stalled, a family business, is the ideal candidate because they need it could be a whole host of things that people get tired. And we do too. I mean, someone just mentioned we're very, very active on Facebook. And one of my directors mentioned that we weren't posting recipes, which had a tremendous following. It just got lost, So now we're going to post a lot more recipes. So you forget.
Okay, Visionary Wolf. Well, we're down to my two questions, and there is a right answer on both of these. Who would eat more of your meatballs in a 30-minute increment? Would it be me, Connor Haley, or Luke Zimmerman? There is a right answer to this.
You.
Oh, there's no doubt. I'd crush both of those guys.
But you're a little, you got the mass too.
So we should do it, Carl. The next physical event, if you can out eat Chris Lahiji, you win something. Okay.
I'm gonna have medics standing by like the hot dog eating.
The trick is we have to do it around 5 because I only eat one meal a day now. I'll probably not eat for 48 hours. I know all the tricks. So we should do some type of MamaMancini's promotion. If you out eat Chris Lahiji at the main event, you get X, and I'm willing to put in. Second question is, we have a comment. Okay, Luke says it's on. You're going to get crushed, Luke. It's not even going to be a contest.
Well, Luke is on a keto diet right now, so.
Oh yeah, no. I'm more worried about Connor because he's from my hometown of Fort Worth, Texas. We like to eat. Luke is more like that, SoCal boy, fish tacos. He has a little bit of quinoa.
He's got a new baby. He's got to be careful.
Oh, no. Well, then maybe so he's stressed out. He'll probably eat more. Second question and final question is, how do you make a perfect meatball? So in terms of marketing, most of what I watch these days is on YouTube.
Right.
And it's, about to eat, Vice Food, all these things. And I don't know how much you're doing there, but for the under 40 crowd, it's where they hang out. And I've never, ever seen anything cooking a perfect meatball. How do you do it, Carl? I mean, what's kind of the secret? Is it the sauce? Is it the prep? What is it?
Well, we have Italian ladies mainly who make the meatball under their armpits. So the old-fashioned but the way you make a perfect meatball, well, first of all, you make a perfect meatball in a pan at home isn't necessarily how you make a perfect meatball in mass production. So you want fresh meat. You don't want filler. A lot of filler. You have some binder, but you don't want it. And you cook it at a steady temperature, and you want consistency. So we do a lot of quality assurance on. We get a ground beef blend that meets our specs, and we're checking all of it. So you want consistency and in the product.
Excellent. There were a few questions that did not go answered. I apologize for that. Just send me an email at chris@ldmicro.com. Carl, it is always a pleasure. I hope to see you guys in the physical form in October for the main event. And for anyone tuning in who wants to learn more, it is MamaMancini's.com. Carl, thank you again for everything. And I hope to see you sooner rather than later.
By the way, if you win the contest, we're going to call you Mr. Meatball.
No, I think it's a great idea, and we're gonna bring in bibs that say MMMB, and you're just gonna watch someone devour meatballs, very consistently on a 30-minute basis. But I've seen enough food competitive shows to know what to do.
Thank you.
You be well.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.